Okay, so day 2 of making every drink on this machine that is available in the settings. So today we are going to do cold brew, and we're going to do a little bit of cold foam on top of it. So to do this, we don't really want to put sugar into our cold brew because it's not going to dissolve very well. So we're going to make a syrup, and we're going to cheat and use the machine to make syrup. Now this machine, this is the base model. It doesn't allow you to have hot water come out. Like for instance, the Pro version or a Breville Barista Express has a hot water setting where it just spouts out some hot water. This doesn't do that, but we're gonna cheat and we're gonna get it to give us some hot water to make a syrup with. I've got some brown sugar, about maybe tablespoon and a half of brown sugar in there that we'll use for our syrup. So the best way to do this is with the Luxe filter. It's the quad shot filter, Luxe. It says Luxe on the side. So that means that we do not need the double filter for any of this today. So we're gonna set that aside. Portafilter in. See how it doesn't really necessarily line up right? You gotta make sure that that's lined up right, otherwise the machine won't work properly. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in the machine. A lot of people have said they've had a hard time getting this to seal. I always put my hand up top here on top of the hopper and the lid to hold it and make sure it's secure that way. So to do this, we are going to force it to give us some water. The best way to do that is not necessarily any of these, it's just the quad shot espresso. So you're gonna press, we're gonna get some hot water out of it. We're not gonna let it go all the way through. We just want a little bit of hot water to make ourselves a syrup. This is a silly way of doing it. If you have a microwave, great. If you just want to put some hot water out of your faucet, great. But we're doing it this way because we're at the roastery. We don't want to use hot tap water and we don't have a microwave here. So we're going to do it this way and cheat and use the machine to give us some hot water. So it does take a little while to heat up. So keep that in mind. It's a little annoying, but we'll get some hot water here in a second. All right, so just a little bit of hot water, just enough to melt the sugar, and then we're gonna stop it. It's gonna be mad at us and beep at us, but that's okay. Just enough to get a little syrup in there. And we'll take a spoon, stir that around, make ourselves a little brown sugar syrup. All right, so if you cheated like me, make sure you get a towel, dry out your portafilter. Don't put this back in there wet. It's gonna make the beans all clumpy, the grinds all clumpy. It will not work very well. So we're gonna make cold brew next. I don't know if you caught that, but we went and emptied our drip tray. Always make sure your drip tray is empty and make sure you've got plenty of water. It'll always warn you, but make sure you got plenty of water in there. Fill that all the way up. You can always remove this as well to take the water and put it somewhere else or take it somewhere else to fill it up, but we just do it because it's easier this way. All right, we're gonna make ourselves a cold brew. We're gonna do it in glass. Make sure that if you are ever doing a hot drink and trying to make it cold, try not to use glass because you can get thermal shock and these things have been known to crack. If you want to know the best way to pour a iced latte made from hot espresso, make sure you're mixing the milk and the espresso and the syrup in a separate cup that does not have ice in it. Put ice in this and then pour it in. That cold milk will temper down the espresso and the heat, and that's the best way to do it. And that way it also won't water down your drink. Don't ever put ice in this and run it under hot espresso. You're gonna have thermal shock, you're gonna have glass everywhere, that's gonna be a problem. All right, something good to know. Because we made our nice little syrupy brown sugar syrup, we were using a hot drink setting. When we switched it to cold brew, it let us know that we need to rinse the machine out. And that's gonna push all that hot water through the system. Make sure to use your milk jug for that, so you can just pour it out. But it's gonna get rid of all the hot water in the system so it doesn't brew too hot for the cold brew. Okay, so we need our Luxe basket, we need our funnel, and we need our standard portafilter. Don't try to do this with a bottomless portafilter. I know it's fancy, but it's not for this drink. All right, so we're gonna put it in the grinder. It's gonna tell us that we need to be all the way up at 22, which we are. All right, for this, we are gonna be using our dark roast. This is our medium dark roast, artisanal nihilism. This is our coffee. We package it in tall aluminum cans. That's the PSA for the evening. Make sure you got enough coffee in your hopper for this, because cold brew uses a lot more coffee than, say, making an espresso. If you ever want to be really efficient with your coffee, just make espresso, because it's probably the most efficient way to make coffee. All right, start grind. Okay, the grind is done. Take it off. You don't need to tamp this. Don't tamp. It doesn't tell you to tamp, don't tamp. I'm gonna take this, lock it in. It's very important to note when you're doing cold brew, don't forget to set your size. I'm only gonna do 12 ounces because it's the afternoon and I don't wanna be completely wired, but you can go all the way up to 18 ounces or all the way down to 6. So I'm only gonna do 12. It's also not gonna have as much coffee come out of the grinder at 12. And I've also turned my strength down to medium, so it should be pretty good. Put our glass in. We are ready to go for brew. Now this is actually going to take a while because it does a very slow brewing process for the cold brew, so we'll come back to it. So you're going to see this happen. It's going to slowly do pressure and then it's going to push a little bit of coffee through at a time. It's not going to be a lot initially, it'll be a little bit, but give it time, let it do its thing. Again, like the last video that we did about, we did the cold press, it's going to take a while for it to do this process. It's trying to mimic a cold brew. A cold brew normally takes 12 hours to 24 hours, sometimes even 36 hours to make. And what you would normally do is grind very coarse coffee, put it in the fridge in water, and then you would strain it the next day. You usually use some sort of filter or you put it in some sort of filter. That's how you make cold brew coffee. The great thing about cold brew coffee is it has very little acidity. So what this machine is trying to do is fake a cold brew. It's not true cold brew, but it comes pretty close. And it's actually very surprising at how good the flavor is compared to what you would normally do and wait 24 hours to make your cold brew concentrate. So we'll let it do its thing. The coffee grounds in here are very, very coarse. So what it's doing is it's wetting them, it's letting it soak in all that goodness, and then it's pushing more water through to push that concentrated coffee back out through. And it's using very low temperature water to do that. See, I can touch this. That's a little bit above room temperature. It's not hot at all. So it's trying to keep all the acidity from coming out of the beans, all the oils from coming out of the beans, and making a very mild, nice flavored cold brew. Here we go. 12 ounces of cold brew. We're gonna add our little bit of syrup, maybe a little bit more. Since this is already room temperature, it's not going to be too bad. And let's make a mess with all of our ice. Let's do 5 big ice cubes here. All right, now we're going to do our cold foam. Let our coffee cool down. Cold foam won't take that long. To do cold foam, you want to make sure that you change your setting all the way over to you see the little snowflake with the foam on top. We're going to be using Fairlife milk, whole milk. I think it makes some better cold foam, but it's completely up to you. Plant-based milk usually doesn't do a very good cold foam. So we're going to put our milk jug in and we're going to hit start froth. Now, remember, I could have done this while it was making the cold brew. So to save some time, because it takes so long to do the cold brew, you could have done this a lot quicker if you had done it that way. I just didn't want to confuse everybody and do it at the same time because it would be a little confusing. So you can do this because it's cold, it's not steaming. You can do it at the same time that you are brewing. So our cold foam is done. I'm going to take a little bit of our milk, splash it over our coffee, take our cold foam. That has gotten nice and thick and foamy. I'll put that on top. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so what do you think? Did I do a good job with that? I'm not the best barista in the whole world. I'm more focused on making the coffee, but I think that looks awfully good. We're gonna mix it up, taste it, see how it actually tastes. Okay, so I'm not normally the kind of person that enjoys drinking cold foam, mostly because of this. So you're gonna get a nice little funny treat here. Yeah. Yeah. Now I need to. That is really good. That is a really good cold brew. Probably not as great as doing it manually and having it sit overnight or anything like that, but to do a fake cold brew on this machine, that's really impressive. It's good, it's flavorful, it has a lot of good coffee flavor, a lot of really good richness to it, but it's not overly acidic that you would normally get with hotter coffee and then turning it into cold. So I think both the cold press and the cold brew are really nice ways to do that. We'll try the over ice next time and actually do the over ice and see how that works. So yeah, I know it's winter and I know it's not really the time to do cold foam and iced lattes, but I want to show you how this machine works. Cheers, and here's to tomorrow.